Today on the Mark Patterson Show, we're going to be talking to Will Grimes out of Denver, Colorado, and how he made over $1 million in 6 months on a lead source he didn't pay one dime for. You're not going to want to miss this.
Welcome to the Mark Patterson Show. I went from being a solo agent to selling over $1 billion in real estate in just 6 years. I flip houses, I run a portfolio of investment properties, and I help people like you create lifestyles they couldn't even imagine living. I'm going to show you how to make riches through real estate. Welcome to the Mark Patterson Show.
Welcome back to the Mark Patterson Show. We are here with Colorado's finest. Will Grimes, you're based out of Denver, Colorado. He's the co-host of Day One $0 podcast. He's one of the owners of Mile High Property Brothers. Got a lot going on in his real estate career. We're going to cover everything from lead sources to TV shows to YouTube channel. So let's kick it off. Will, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? The Mark Patterson Show. I was curious when this was going to pop off. Super stoked for you, man. Right on.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I came up with a bunch of names, couldn't figure it out. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to R&D Tom Ferry and a couple other people and just call it the Mark Patterson Show. We may transition, whatever happens. But yeah.
I feel like those guys, you have like the Montel Williams show. You've got Geraldo. Like, I don't think those guys actually capped that, but maybe in real estate they did. But people have been doing that for a long time, bro.
Well, shit, maybe I should just be Mark, like Oprah. It's not
Marky
even a show.
Mark.
Oh, she does have the Oprah Winfrey Show. There we go. So you got a podcast of your own. Let's talk about that a little bit. So you got Day One $0. Where'd you come up with the name?
Yeah, so, man, it's literal. So when I, long story short, man, I was in the Marine Corps for a long time and did some things under Special Operations Command, right? Then did some mercenary work, then did police work, then helped a buddy build a brick and mortar fitness company. We grew to 14 stores in 2 years. And at that point I figured like I had some skill sets to do something on my own because my other half, my significant other said, hey, you ever imagine like working 16 hours for yourself? What would that look like? And I said, no, I've never thought of it, and that's when I got into real estate. I thought of it. And I had a buddy that was crushing in real estate and she thought it would be a great idea. And I said, cool, man, like I'm going to dive into that. And so long story short, man, I chose to dive into it. And when I started over, that was also the same day I got my own Instagram. I'd been doing our fitness company's Instagram. That was pretty much my personal. I was on it all the time. I never had my own. So I created my own. And on the first post I was talking about, it was my literal Day One and $0 of real estate, man. I was working, I'd wake up in the morning, I would work out, I would study all day, and then I would go do Uber and Lyft at night to just make a couple bucks for my daughter. And I was living in my buddy's mom's pantry at the time, dude. I sold all my stuff off and started, but it was a big turning point for me, man. And I wanted to document it. And I didn't want to be that guy that was successful and then told stories about how broke I was or how minimal I was once I made it. I wanted to talk about it while I was going through, right? And just documenting my story, not trying to have these romantic stories about being broke once I was, in a good place. So on my Instagram, I started using the hashtag Day One $0, and I'm not that clever because or maybe I am because no one had ever used it before. And I thought that was cool, man. It has some ownership to it. And then, Eli and I, my business partner, who I linked up with in real estate, and he's mildly interesting, but super good looking. So we'll leave him at that. But no, man, great guy. But man, once we hit top 1% and then top 0.5% in the world, production wise for Berkshire, that's when we started venturing into that podcast world and figuring that we had earned enough to think we had something to say to entrepreneurs. And it's not guided in real estate specifics, but it's over entrepreneurship and building a brand. Things we're going to talk about today. And what better thing to call the podcast than something that felt so good and was so true to our beginnings of Day One $0. And then now it's kind of morphed into like, hey, how do you still attack every day? Like it's your Day One $0. Where does that burn still come from? And yeah, man, so pretty cool. But it was literal, man. I was in my buddy's mom's old Y2K pantry, making some hashtag on Instagram, just trying to make it, bro.
Surrounded by canned foods that never go bad.
Dude, if you're an emotional eater, do not start over in life and sleep in a pantry. Like you'll gain a few pounds.
My podcast, maybe I should call my podcast Day One $-70,000 because that's when I started real estate. I think I had about $70,000 in credit card debt. So nothing better with your back against the wall, living I had an air mattress. So I could definitely relate.
Yeah, debt's one thing. A daughter's another, man. Making sure you provide and
oh yeah,
debt will swamp you. Very similar to, man, just the obligation of just wanting to be a good dad. Like it swamps you, but it's very it'll motivate you at the same time.
100%. You got your back against the wall and you want to make sure that you provide for your family, make sure your spouse is taken care of, make sure your children got the good life. You don't want them to ever worry that they don't have enough money. There's nothing worse than that thought.
Right. When it was by design, man. So my other half, she was living with her parents. Our daughter was with, her with my wife. But I slept in that pantry on purpose, and maybe that's for another day. But man, I sold all my cars off. Like, I was making good money at that fitness company, but I wasn't good with money. Right. And so I got rid of cars. I got rid of unneeded stuff. And I literally, man, I went into that pantry so I could solely focus on getting that license done and being a professional. And once you start, once I started selling, I didn't want to be selling desperate with like just bills or other things in the back of my mind. I wanted to make sure I was in it for the right reasons and I was taking care of people. And, that whole saying of like, man, just doing the right thing is always the right thing. It couldn't be more true. But when you've got things stacking up and piling on you, if you have the luxury or ability to just minimize, sell your house, sell your whatever you have to do to make something work, man. Like, I don't think that's spoken about enough. I think people let their material things or some other commitments in life be excuses as to why they don't do something. But man, like, it was huge for me to get rid of all of that stuff and just get free focus and redialed in and as far as what I wanted to do.
Which I loved you talked about money, because I think there's so many teams or just real estate agents in general that make it look like everything's good on the outside, but they haven't paid their taxes in 2 years.
Well, you don't got look. I'm never going to pay my taxes, bro. Just between you, that doesn't mean I'm not making money though.
We'll edit that out. No, but the biggest thing is like making sure it's funny is like people, they don't look at profitability. They look at just like numbers. Oh, I sold X number of homes. Well, how profitable were you? What numbers are you marking? And something interesting about you and Eli, you guys have a company, Mile High Property Brothers. You guys have built this brand and you've created an amazing brand with a YouTube channel with really zero budget. You guys got a handheld camera. You're doing a lot of the work yourself. You're freaking putting out some great content, and you sold what's some of the houses you guys have sold off of just having your YouTube channel alone?
Yeah. 3-4 million plus easy. Yeah. We've got Boulder out here. So anytime you're selling in Boulder, super expensive. You go downtown, super expensive, and like the bottom line too, like with the video content, man, is people know, like, and trust you. When your content is good content, it's consistent, you can articulate and speak to your profession, but people have the opportunity to just kind of see who you are and how you conduct yourself. There's not a better feeling than when you meet these clients on a Zoom call and they come to town and they're like, oh, you're the same guy from the videos, and it's like, yeah. And it's like, it's by design. That's what's so great about building a brand and capturing it through video is the people that really enjoy you, that see your consistency, that want to work with you. It's great because people that maybe aren't for us, that see our videos and choose not to call us, man, that's great. Like, there's nothing worse than trying to fit in with clients and kiss ass or give these like undue compliments to be a nice guy versus like people that just dig you and they're your kind of people. And there's plenty of people out there that are your people and just growing, man. And they trust your advisement. They're great team players when they come to the state and they're working through it. And yeah, man, it couldn't be a better fit.
Yeah. I mean, they know what they're going to get. They've watched your videos. Like you said, they're not going to call you if they don't like you. I mean, maybe 100%. They will to bitch you out, but if they call you, they're wanting to work.
If you're good at what you do, man, your clients aren't bitching you out, right? So like, man, the client's getting on you. I don't know.
I was saying just because they didn't like your videos, but yeah. But no, your videos, you guys got the entertainment down, but you guys are providing information. And one thing you talked about is the consistency. Did you guys see success right away when you started your YouTube videos? I mean, how long was it before it kind of turned?
Man, right away is subjective, right? So we got our first 2 deals under contract, I think month 5. Yeah. But obviously buyers were coming in prior to that. And, I think that is right away. I think that's pretty successful for the YouTube platform. I know you do a lot of leads. Like, yeah, you're not going to turn a lead in one night, right? So subjective to what's successful, but we had 2 new builds go under contract with our first 2 clients. Well, they weren't our first clients, but the first clients to go under contract. It was right at the beginning of our month 5, right? And but now we're about a year and a half into it, and between Eli and I, we made 1.2 in commissions on that channel alone. So that's not our network. That's not our sphere of influence. That's just from that channel. It was 1.136 that came into commissions for this first 6 months this year. And yeah, man, we don't pay any money for that channel, right? Like, we do our own B-roll, our own drone footage, all the editing and everything like that. Like, we partner with our preferred lender, who kicks some money in for the editing and things like that. So out of pocket, it's zero.
Today's episode is brought to you by MarkPattisonRealEstate.com, my 6-week master real estate team course. My team was the first team ever to sell over 500 homes in a year in San Diego County. And I'm launching a course, and you can learn the fundamentals of how to launch a successful real estate team and implement proven systems and strategies that get you results fast. For more information, visit MarkPattisonRealEstate.com. Once again, that's MarkPattisonRealEstate.com.
And it's an amazing lead source that you control. So when you control the narrative, you're not getting brought around by these different lead sources that say, hey, this platform is no longer available to you. See you later. Yours is going to be there. I mean, of course, you don't have YouTube control, but that platform is going to be around for a while. And YouTube loves creators and content like you because you're getting a lot of views, you're getting a lot of watchers. And one of the things I'd say is like, it's not about the view count, or it's about the phone calls that come through that say, hey, Will, hey, Eli, we want to work with you. That's what matters. And since we're selling such a high ticket item,
it's that niche, right? So we've got over 6,000 subscribers right now. We don't pay for subscribers. We don't pay for views. Everything we do is just research and the analytics of like finding out what people are searching in regards to Colorado based off of what we know about Colorado, marrying both of those up, and then creating titles that are going to put themselves in front of an audience that are searching for that, right? So yeah, man, you've got channels that are, and we're still early on, and we'll definitely grow significantly larger than we are right now. But it's like that whole riches and the niches, right? Like for 6,000 people to be organically subscribed in a year, and it's super strict to people moving to Colorado and buying homes. Like that's a lot in that narrow of a lane. And if you're looking at the commissions coming through, it's significant, man. And especially when you're looking at like, if we're going to talk about business, I know you're big on the business side of it, Mark, and just being prepared and having something sustainable. Well, what's the ROI on this for us as far as commission wise to how much we're actually paying out to run the channel, right? Like it's significant, consistent. This also, man, this like it's created other opportunities, right? So we were on the Drew Barrymore show not too long ago. They found our channel. They want us to be local correspondents for Denver and highlight this area for the Drew Barrymore show. So we just got done doing our first episode that airs tomorrow. Well, I don't know when you air your podcast, but today's the 21st of September. So the 22nd of September, that'll air. And then we also had an Emmy award-winning production company pick us up, and they want us to have our own show, whether it be Peacock or Netflix or HGTV. They've done a ton. They the same production company that does like Alaska PD, same production company, and they want Eli and I to have a show, and they've got a really cool idea that we can do here in Denver. And we weren't in it for that. We were just, man, this whole channel came about because of COVID. We literally we were focused on just being the best product for consumers, man. We're not focused on our competition. We're not looking at who's doing what, and I got to be like this guy or be like that guy. We just wanted to create a great process for clients to have content and be educated, but it had to be remote because COVID had just happened. So, man, we started cranking this thing out, and now it's morphed into other stuff. And like, it's like that whole like take care of the work, and then the work will take care of you. Being on the Drew Barrymore show, and then this production company picking us up. That's where like the work is taking care of us. We had no idea something like that would happen. And it was okay if it didn't happen. It was about how do we take care of a client? And when you're building a brand, man, it can be such a distraction of like, you want to be Ryan Serhant, or you want to go do something, but like you're putting the cart in front of the horse. You got to take care of consumers. You got to be in it for the right reasons and have integrity and just freaking crush your craft and what you do. And like that work will take care of itself, man, and present a lot of opportunities for you. But I think nowadays, especially with social media and the fast track or whatever, like, man, I think it's not spoken about enough as well. Right. But man, if you're thinking about building a brand and you're not doing video with it, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah. And 100% on that, putting the cart before the horse, because we talked about that today. I was telling someone, I'm like, look, you want the path to success, but you're looking at success first. Let's look at success where you want to be in 1 year, and let's backtrack it and see what you have to do in order to get there. And all the stuff that you're talking about from your YouTube, that wasn't even the plan. The plan was just to sell some homes and to figure out a way during COVID, like, how are we going to make this happen? Because we need a new way.
2 videos a week, and we're doing our own B-roll, our own drone footage. The edit, dude, that's a lot of work in addition to already helping our existing clients. And we're seeing right away why people aren't doing it, because it's a lot of fucking work, and it's not something that turns that turns itself successful in the first week, But man, there's a lot of guys doing it that are in our downline that are crushing it, and they've become successful. And I kind of like that, man. I kind of like that there's work, because if you're in it for the right reasons and you put the right amount of work into something being successful, while you're putting the work in, you will grow into the person you need to be once clients start showing up. And if you're
For
trying
sure.
to do that early, man, like you're not going to be the right person, man. You won't
No,
be able
and
to
I would
handle it.
say like just focus on one thing every single day, chop up your goals and make sure it's attainable. When people look at the end result, it's nearly impossible to do. And I think
Yeah.
society today too, we look at what success means and then we find a different path that we think is going to be a shortcut. And so we're constantly going like this.
People emulate the end result, right? Like you look at Jay-Z, you look at Ryan Serhant. You want to emulate the end result of Ryan Serhant year to date.
Yeah.
You don't want to emulate his process, right? Same thing. People see something and they want to emulate what something looks like, not the behavior of what it took to get there.
For sure. 100% on that. And I love that it's like a free lead source that you control. You got introduced to Drew Barrymore. I actually danced on a table at a bar with Drew Barrymore probably about 10 years ago. I didn't remember that until you told me that story. And I was like, oh yeah, I've danced with Drew Barrymore before. She's a fun gal.
Like, Mark, you have this habit of one-upping me every time we talk, you know?
Not at all. You are on TV with Drew Barrymore. I was drunk with her on a bar. That's like actually I don't know if that's one-upping. That's kind of like bringing myself down.
Maybe I'd rather be at the bar with her than on TV. I don't know, right? It's subjective. I don't know.
She's a very short girl, very short. But yeah, the coolest thing is that you guys created a brand. So like I said earlier, day one, $0. That's the podcast. Yep. The Mile High Property Brothers. That's your guys' YouTube and your brand that you created.
So the YouTube channel. Yep. So we're the Mile High Property Brothers. On YouTube, it's called Living in Denver, Colorado, right? Like a lot of people have emulated that as well. But for search reasons, the title of the actual channel is Living in Denver, Colorado. But yes, it's like, hey, welcome to Living in Denver, Colorado. We're the Mile High Property Brothers. So Eli and I's brand is Mile High Property Brothers. Correct.
Perfect. And then you did mention downline. You mentioned Berkshire Hathaway. So I know that you guys were previous Berkshire Hathaway. Now you guys are at EXP, correct?
Yep.
So with this YouTube, and you said people in your downline are getting so much off of this, which you love. Where can people contact you to kind of chat more about this? I mean, if people are interested truly about EXP and switching over, it's done wonders for my business. Would you agree it's changed so much, just your thinking?
Yeah, not even just the thinking, right? But just it's the framework, right? And this is where, like, man, it becomes such a touchy subject, right? Like you don't, first and foremost, you don't have to be all or nothing in life, right? But the biggest thing as far as like EXP and the benefits of the model is we grew a team super proficient, man. When we were top 0.5% in the world for Berkshire production, we weren't doing leads or anything. We were still a no lead source. We taught people how to throw events. We were subject matter experts in our craft, and we were celebrities in our areas. And we taught that. Well, here's the problem, man. All those agents that we taught, they wanted to be us. They wanted their own team. They were ready. They were ready for more. You think I want 3, 4, 5 of my best members on my team to walk out the door? Yes and no. Yes, because I want them to live their life and go crush and aspire to be more. No, because it's like, well, great. I just trained these people to be awesome. And now Berkshire is going to benefit from that. But that money just walked out of my door, and I'm the one that taught them everything that they know, right? Like, oh, bummer. But it puts you in a hard spot because, of course, you want them to crush. And here at EXP, man, whether you have a traditional team or a downline, we literally triple down on how well we educate people now. Not that we weren't back in the day, but we had a team. And dude, we hit that top 0.5% in production with like 10 people, 10, 11 people. I mean, it was impressive. We're doing even more now because whether you want a traditional team or you want to create your own downline, your own network, you never have to leave. As big as you want to be, you can be. As specific as you want to be, you can be. And it's like the integrity behind the model and the flexibility of just being able to influence and teach and pay it forward to the new age of realtors and really how to build a brand, but also being a true professional at your craft at the same time. No, it's awesome, man. And we love it. And it's worth the time now. This is why a lot of influencers have come here, because no one has to leave. You don't have to worry about building your team that's going to walk away because they all want to build their team. And yeah, man. So for a business standpoint, yeah, it's great. And then from a social aspect, because nobody has to leave, because everybody's helping each other, dude, we're out crushing together and motivating each other. And you and I talk on a regular basis, man, of what we're doing and how and it's, man, the atmospherics of people that are just here for the right reasons, that want to win, that are helping each other level up. Man, it's a super positive, upbeat, resourceful environment.
I couldn't agree more. And just the idea of like, it's weird because we got rid of offices. The idea, it's a virtual company. We all have offices. Our company just doesn't have them. But yet we've never felt more connected to agents that are at the same brokerage.
And dude,
100%.
Build your own office, right? Like, listen to me. When you talk about building your brand and building your business, I don't know if you guys can I don't know if you guys can see.
Yeah, look at that. Woo!
Right, but it's like, hey man, like I'll show you the pool here in a minute. Eli, and like, hey, while I'm doing this and I get to do all the fun stuff, Eli's over here banging out some Zoom calls with some clients, right? Having a good time. And we've got this outdoor patio space for masterminds and classes and client appreciation nights, but just really cool stuff, man. But again, it's like, so when I'll leave you with this, I guess, when you talked about, hey, did it change your mindset? Kind of the framework of where we're at with EXP. And then more importantly, man, like the people we're around, you just start thinking bigger, right? Like the fact that this is where we work, this is where we throw masterminds, this is where we hang, like it's incredible. And it's like, hey, yeah, why would I be at a normal brokerage, like proud to pay my $60 for an outdated office?
Yep.
This is not $60, but we're able to financially influence and put ourselves in a position to where we crush this. Yeah. And Mark, it's got one of the best pools. I don't know if you want to see the pool or not, but
always. Because I'm going to be in Denver starting in January, but I'll make sure I come out in the summertime when it's actually warm.
Well, here's the thing, Mark, keeping it to integrity. I don't like what you said about some other state being better than our spot. You got.
I do love Colorado.
What's up, guys?
You guys know this guy.
So we're literally on YouTube clients right now saying hi. Like Eli's like, yeah, he's on a podcast and he's on a Zoom call with podcast or with YouTube clients. But Mark, this is only for you, bro.
Let's check this out. So this is your office. You got a pool, you got a hangout, you got the nice office.
Right? You've got like a little area where this is where we're gonna be throwing like our masterminds, man. This is just super cool. So especially during the fall time in Colorado, just coming out here, man, having a TV, having tables out, man. So whether it's prior client appreciation stuff, man, or masterminds for other realtors, like, yeah, man, this is where we're at. This is what's possible. And I'll leave you with this, Mark. I'm not showing whoever watches your podcast and whoever's watching us, you know, like, I know you speak freely on your success. And I'm starting to give myself permission to speak freely on some of our success, but it's not to impress. It's to impress upon the point of what's possible, right? Like this is not, I'm not showing this to go, look, it's like, hey, no, come with me. And that's what's so cool about the EXP model, man. It's like, you know, like we had one of our agents come on not too long ago and like, oh, hey, can I use that spot? And I go, hey, get your own. Yeah. But it's right. But it's like, of course you can use it, but it's like, hey, I want you to go get you. I don't want you to want mine. Come use it. Of course, go get your own. Right. And like, it's just fun to empower agents, man, and teach them how to build a brand. But again, being a professional, what you do and taking care of clients and doing the right things. But then, yeah, man, at some point you have stuff like this and it's cool. And it makes you, dude, I don't know about you, Mark. It makes me work even harder.
My office opens in 10 days. So my new office that I'm building out, all that good stuff, 10 days till opening. And I agree. It makes you work harder. And I remember signing a lease 3 years ago and the guy was like, you're going to own a building on this street sooner than later. And sure enough, through the model that we're working now, it's pretty crazy. As I used to be worried about having office space. Now I freaking own it. So.
And that's baller. We're going to get to it. We don't clearly, this is like a $40 million bill. Like we don't.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but the exclusive access we get to this and we've also got a private 2-bed, 2.5 bath penthouse here. And some super cool people live here. So the access we get to some people, it's phenomenal. The access we get for leasing all this stuff. But man, I love when you talk about ownership because I think we're going to be there one day as well. Right. This is all cool. And we love it for content. We love it for masterminds. In addition to this, that ownership of what you do is super cool.
Yep. Well, I'll definitely show you what I did and I can help you out with anything that you need. Like we said, everything is open book. So want to thank you for being on. So Will Grimes out of Denver, Colorado, Mile High Property Brothers, living in Denver is what his YouTube. If you look up that on YouTube, you can follow all of his cool videos, get some ideas. Also refer him any business that you guys know moving to Denver, Colorado.
There you go.
Day one, $0. Start out in the pantry. That's where you can find him on his podcast. Definitely great guys to listen into. I was on your guys' podcast. I appreciate that. That's how we met.
Yes, sir.
And we've been friends ever since.
100%, man. What a pleasure. Super appreciate you having me on. And anybody that's got questions or whatnot, you guys can find me on Instagram. If you guys send me a message there, I'm pretty active on Instagram. It's Will_Grimes, Grimes. If you guys have any questions, I'm usually back to you within a day. If I don't follow you back, so you're in my filtered messages, I still check that stuff. I still run my own Instagram. If you send me a message there, I'll definitely get back to you.
Perfect, man. Thank you for coming on, and I'll be seeing you soon in Denver.
Thank you for tuning into the Mark Pattison Show today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please download so you can refer back. If you like this content and want to continue receiving real estate education for free, head over to your computer, scroll all the way down to the section after the episodes on the podcast, and select the 5 stars. If you're willing to commit to transforming your business, please visit my website, markpattisonrealestate.com. We've created a community of real estate professionals where we give back and share tips on how to succeed. Visit markpattisonrealestate.com. And remember, if you're not fucking up, then you're not trying.